Hello and good morning. It is now November 16th. Week 11 NFL starts tomorrow. But if you're here, we're gonna discuss Rams at Patriots. So before we hop into it, let me introduce my guest. Returning, you saw him last season, Nick. He's a Patriots fan. What's going on, Nick?
Great to be back. Love the new schema. Very excited.
Oh yeah, I love it too. And then we are returning as always, Danny Stone with the cage behind him. What's going on, Danny Stone?
Gage is behind me. No, I'm doing well. Turf Show Times. Happy to be here. I will put this video in the article whenever I finish writing it today.
Awesome. I know we were just discussing the fight, but now we're ready to move. Last night, the boxing match, if you'd call it a fight. We're ready to move on to Week 11. Nick, I want to start with you. Being a Patriots fan, ever since they were called soft, they're 2-1 with the only loss in overtime. Do you think the Patriots have been improving since the coach called them out, or what are your thoughts on that situation?
Well, I mean, yeah, but it was kind of hard to go in the other direction. Like the first 8-9 weeks of the season have been incredibly putrid. The offense, unfortunately, terrible. The defense not doing a whole lot better on that side. They're 2-1 since then, which is shocking to me. I don't see it particularly continuing in that fashion. But there's good stuff all about. I'm happy. Drake May's real cool. He's a gunslinger. We haven't had one of those.
Yeah.
It's just exciting times to be a Patriots fan.
Yeah, and if you've been watching some of our weekly episodes when we were giving out our game-by-game matchups, I picked the Patriots multiple times because of Drake May. So I know they won, 3 games, but I did pick them multiple times. So I'm liking him.
They are on a longer win streak right now than the Rams.
That is true. But I mean, as you know right now, we're here to talk the Rams going to New England. So it's an early game, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So Rams going to be playing early for them. Rams are favored by 4.5, over-under at 43.5.
That seems high. I don't normally speak on the over-unders, but that seems really high. I'm thinking 35.
Yeah. I mean, before we get into this, last week the Rams were 0-3 in the red zone, so they're back to their ways of getting to the red zone but not scoring.
Yep.
A couple notes here. Stafford is now on his tied longest streak of his career with an interception in 6 straight games. Danny Stone, do you think it throws another one? And after you're done with that, Nick, I want to know how the Patriots defense is for.
Yeah, in last week's game, the interception he threw, no excuses, but it almost was an interception. Guy grabs it off the ground. I mean, you live and die by Stafford. He makes every throw. He thinks he can make every throw. He knows he can make every throw. Oh, he threw an interception. It is what it is. So, yeah, I see him throwing a pick, but I'm still going to pick the Rams to win. But I could easily see him throwing a pick in this game. Christian Gonzalez is out there. It's terrifying.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? How's that pass defense? I'm not too familiar with their defense.
Not great. Since the beginning of the year, I think they've traded out, 2 or 3 of their starters. They did shut down the Bears last week to a tune of 3 total points coming from them. But honestly, I have no idea how to judge that. It seems as though the Bears are regressing as well on a sort of week-by-week basis. And so with that, who really knows? Maybe the Patriots have found what's working here. I agree with Dan that the over-under seems incredibly high. I think we can take any 3-game stretch of the Patriots and see that they haven't even scored 43.5 points. I do think the Rams win. I think they win handedly.
I hope you're right.
And I just look it up. New England averages giving up 1.2 pass touchdowns a game, which is actually 10th best. And the Rams average 1 passing touchdown a game, which is tied for 4th worst.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I mean, the only positive about this game, historically, McVay is 10-2 on the road against AFC teams, so hopefully he can keep that streak going. Here's a question for you. So New England this season is 3-7 against the spread in the first half, so usually they go down early. The Rams are favored by 2.5 for the first half. Do you think New England keeps it close, at least in the first half, to make it a game?
Interesting question, because they break down at all points during the game throughout the season. So sometimes it's 21-0 coming out of the first. Sometimes it's 10-10 coming into halftime. I'm unsure. Like the Rams offense seems pretty spotty. Whether or not that's injuries, whether or not it's game plan, the defenses they're playing, I obviously don't really know. But I think 2.5. I think you take the Pats on the first half there.
Yeah, because I have a quick stat on that, though. See if Dan has any points. In the first half, the Patriots defense has allowed opponents to score only 33% of drives, which is tied for sixth best, actually. And the Rams have only scored in 27% of their first drives in the first half, tied for third worst. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes 0-0 in the halftime.
I mean, the Rams offense really only looked great and whole against the Minnesota Vikings, if memory serves. Because even against Seattle, like they had a 2-score lead in the fourth and then let Seattle tie it. I shouldn't say let Seattle tie it. Seattle tied it. But like if they would even scored a field goal, I don't know. Like Nick said, for whatever reason, Rams offense is spotty for a lot of reasons. It's bizarre. It's very frustrating.
Yeah,
I don't want to overreact, but where's the McVay magic?
This is more a fantasy question. Davis Allen, I think it is, tight end, is taking over for Parkinson. Do you think he shows up this week, or what are you expecting?
I expect Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and Kyron Williams. I don't rely on the tight ends and the Rams Sean McVay era. I know Tyler Higbee has had some glorious runs, but if memory serves, he's never had a great run for a whole season. He's had stretches.
Yeah.
I don't know why Sean McVay has never had a dominant tight end for a full 17-game season. It just doesn't seem to be the way his offense is. And he's a former tight ends coach. So again, I don't really know why they signed Colby Parkinson, and that just doesn't one of our writers put out an article just last week. Like it's been a bust. It's been a bust, and it's hard to argue that.
I asked because I woke up to a text from a good buddy of mine who thrives in DFS and daily fantasy, and he was like, "What do you think of Allen? Is he going to do anything?" I was like, "Maybe one catch, maybe two at most for 15 yards." And he said, "That's all right. I just need him to get at least 3 points." So
tight end's a wasteland in fantasy. And
yeah, that's what he was telling me.
Yeah.
If you can get a good value, I guess Allen is his value is so low. It's like a defense.
I mean, it's not impossible to that point, SamMeeBee. I guess if your friend wants to listen, I'll fuel his fire a little bit. It's not impossible that Allen catches 3 for 50. He gets 2 screens and then he breaks off 1 for 30 yards on a broken play. I don't think that's impossible.
True.
Is it likely? I don't know. That's probably a reason Daily Fantasy has him as a lower tiered tight end.
Yeah. So normally I would show you the bets I'm making for this game, but I'll be honest, I don't feel comfortable with anything. If I was to take anything, it'd be an under. I maybe under for the total for sure. Total under for the first half, under the first quarter, maybe under player props, but I'm not putting any money on it. My gut feeling, honestly, I'm so mad by the Rams losing to the Dolphins. I'm thinking Patriots might win 14-13. I think it's going to be an ugly, sloppy game, but I guess, honestly, I will take the Rams. My final prediction is 17-13. What about you, Nick? I'll let you go next. Who are you thinking?
Oh, I think it's the Rams, and I hope it's close. 17-13 sounds real good, but I'm not going to take that because you did. We're going to go 10-7. We're all suffering on Sunday. No one's coming out of this one pleased.
I'll be happy if they win, but that'll be a grueling watch.
Oh, yeah. For 3 hours, we're going to be miserable together.
1 touchdown each. It's going to be all field goals. Take the over in the field goals attempts, I guess.
I think the Rams get back in the end zone this game. I'll go 24-10, but I think it's going to be close. And then finally, it'll be 17-10 for a while, and then LA will finally score and just put the game away. I can be dead wrong. I think your prediction of 14-13 is. I could see the LA being up 13-7, and then Drake May marches down with a minute left or 2 minutes left and just wins. I don't know.
That's my
Drake May is real cool.
I do kind of like him. I will say, I thought that you guys had a real one with Mac Jones, and that didn't work out. But so I'm curious to see if Drake May is the answer. But he looks all right. I think
it's real interesting. We're getting I'm no football expert. I'm not an X and O's type of guy here.
Sure.
But I am. I do read the internet, and the fans temperature between the two. When Matt came in, we had that really good first year. They made the playoffs, right?
Yep.
Even then, the temperature on the internet forums wasn't this man is going to be a superstar. This man is going to lead us down. It was this man is going to be a good, above average quarterback. And that was wrong, obviously. But what we see with Drake May is the fans, we love him. We love having the man that's just going to launch the ball. Mac Jones couldn't throw the ball more than 15 yards. Drake May is going to throw it 50 yards, and sometimes our receivers are going to catch the ball. Sometimes your quarterbacks are going to catch the ball too. But they're, at least from the fan perspective, it seems as though everyone has agreed that Drake May has quote unquote like superstar potential, whereas Mac Jones was, we got Mac Jones.
I tell you what, Mac Jones, throw the ball to Brian Thomas, you madman. Give me some anyway. Regardless, Drake May's mobile, which I think is exciting. Like as a Rams fan, I think a lot of Rams fans are kind of off the Stafford boat because when the offensive line breaks down, 9 times out of 10 the play's over. Like aside from that Minnesota Vikings play where he like ducks 2 sacks and then hits Cooper Kupp in the end zone, more often than not this year he's not avoiding sacks like he used to. He's not very mobile. They need the offensive line to work for him. So at least with Drake May, when a play breaks down, he's exciting. He can break away. It's very alluring. I'm not off the Stafford train, but I get why a lot of Rams fans on my game threads are like, we need to be done with Stafford.
I mean, this is sort of the trade y'all made for the Super Bowl, right? Like, correct. You didn't trade for a 26-year-old up and coming, all-star QB. I mean, how old was Stafford when he was shipped on over to you?
He would have been 33, I think, at the time because he's 36 now.
Right.
But I think we lied to ourselves. Like we were like, oh man, this dude's gonna do it forever. Like, look at Tom Brady, look at Aaron Rodgers, look at Joe Flacco. And it's just like these quarterbacks that have these late season MVP seasons, Super Bowl wins, even Joe Flacco, who went on a tremendous run last year. I think those are the exceptions, not the rule. Maybe Stafford is one of those exceptions, but man, his play. And again, I think you brought up a great point, Nick, as far as injuries, play calling, the Rams not being in sync. It's not all on Stafford. It's not any one thing, but the offense just, it doesn't look good. And I guess I'll get on a pedestal for a second. Going into the year, SamMeeBee, as Rams fans, the big concern was can this young defense hold it down? Mm-hmm. And people thought the offense was going to be great. And 10 games into the season, 9 games into the season for the Rams, 4-5, the defense is not the problem. The offense is the problem. And I think that's been very surprising.
Yeah, they finally got 2 linemen back last week, looking healthy, and they gave up, I think, 4 sacks. For 2 games prior, they gave up none. So, and I did say that game would be low scoring. I know going back to last week, the final score was 20. What was the final score last week? Do you remember?
I'll Google it, but it ends up being a 2-score game. But it was close the whole, like it was a close.
I think it was 23.
It was an ugly game, but it was a fun game to watch. It was a fun football game, but it wasn't.
20, if I remember, I think it was 23-15. I only remember that because I said it'd be 28-16. So I was off by a field goal from each way. So I was close.
So it was 23-15. It ends up being a 1-score game because you're right. They kicked that field goal on 3rd and 10. Try for an onside kick, don't get the onside kick, game ends. So you're right. It ends up being a 1-score game.
And I said 26-18, so I was a field goal away from each team. Doing pretty good.
Well, I had Miami winning, so boom.
Out of curiosity, do y'all believe that if you swap Stafford out for, let's just say, a top 5 quarterback, are y'all just beating teams up and down the field now? Or are the issues a little bit deeper?
One area that the Rams defense has been not great in, and this is the eye test, I don't have numbers on this, but 3rd downs, like last week, the first drive, it's 3rd and 13. Jared Verse, the young Rams defense, they're excitable. They think they have him. They don't. Tua breaks out of the pocket, hits Waddle for like a 30-yard pass. That can't happen. And that's a long way of me saying, like, Stafford's, to what I've seen, 9 times out of 10, if the pocket breaks down, he's not able to step up in the pocket. He's not able to get out of the pocket. And I do think a mobile quarterback could at least make something happen when a play breaks down. I'm not seeing Stafford do that at the level of which he used to. Even last year when they went on they won 7 of 8 games and made the playoffs. And they were 3-6 and then win 7 out of 8. I'm just not seeing it. But again, finally, they had the offensive line they wanted to start last week, that they wanted to start week 1, which they did start week 1, but after the first quarter, like half their offensive line got hurt, which was a bummer. So they got all their guys back, and hopefully maybe this week they gel and it's a little bit better. I mean, if you give him 3 or 4 seconds, I still think he can dice up a defense, but you're not always going to have that. So it's the short answer to your question is yes. The long answer is it's complicated.
Where are they going to top out this year?
Like their record?
Yeah. Well, how deep are they going to go?
I want to still believe they can make the playoffs, right, Chris? I still believe that it's in front of them. They still have 3 NFC West games to play. They still play the Eagles, which is huge. They play the Saints, which I hate to say this, I don't mean to be rude. They should beat the Saints.
You got to beat the
Saints. Than New England. If they play it's in front of them. It's still very much in front of them at 4 and 5.
They play the Jets as well. Winnable. I mean, look at this. Look at the schedule. I mean, the 2 games I'm worried about: Buffalo and San Francisco.
Totally.
But then the other games, yeah, they should be winnable. So I can see them.
The Eagles are going to be tough.
Yeah.
The Eagles are going to be tough.
All right? You think so?
Well, all right, we'll get there when we get there. That's a good tease for a couple weeks from now. All right, we'll get there when we get there.
Ever since head coach shaved his head, yeah.
They need to win. So what? There's 8 games left. I would say they need to win 5 or 6 out of the next 8 to make the playoffs. So they can lose to New England because that's an AFC game. They really need to win the NFC games, but they shouldn't lose to New England. I'll say this too, and this is what I have in my game prediction article, and maybe this is a little bit overzealous because it is a week-to-week sport, and I get guilty of falling into the narratives myself, including this one. If the Rams lose, they are farther behind than I thought they were. And if New England wins, I think they are further ahead than I thought they were. We'll see if that actually is true, but that is my thought depending on how the outcome goes. So
I think my final thought around this is that as a Patriots fan who is approaching 35 years old, I've never really been in a team that's like, we're going to go for that number 1 draft pick. And it's exciting. It's pretty exciting. I just wish the product was a little bit better right now.
And the idea, I think, is you guys get the first overall pick and then trade out, right? Like you just get picks and
I'm certainly not in depth with what the college football draft class is going to be like. My understanding is that there's not really like a sort of generational pick available for anyone. And maybe that changes. It wouldn't surprise me if they just used the number 1 on whoever the best tackle and or wide receiver is, because maybe trading down isn't going to get the sort of haul that the Bears were able to acquire from the Panthers.
You know, if Drake May had a Malik Neighbors, I think both players would be happier. I don't mean to rag on Daniel Jones, but if you guys could get an actual top receiver. I like Pop Douglas. I like Boudier. I like what you guys got.
Did I say that? Boudier? I thought it was Bouti.
I'm probably calling his name wrong.
I'm pretty sure.
I should call him by his real name. But Drake's a booty man, I think is the latest on the internet. So I think if you guys add a number 1 receiver, or maybe there's another Gronk in the draft, maybe you guys find that next Gronk. That would be kind of wild. I don't know. It's a lot easier for me to like New England now that Bill Belichick and Brady aren't there. Like they're kind of this scrappy.
And you don't have to live with me.
Yeah. They're not the Death Star anymore. And maybe they'll be that, and maybe they'll beat the Rams tomorrow. But the hatred that I felt for them for so long, it's just not there. And I don't even hate Bill Belichick and Tom Brady the way that I used to. Like I like Bill Belichick, the analyst. I think Tom Brady's actually okay too. I think a lot of people give him a hard time because that's what people do. I don't think he's that bad, and I think he'll get better. But man, I can't lie. Brady and Belichick together. American and I were roommates, and he had to put up with me and my Patriots. And he was a good sport. I would
to be fair,
I would kind of hate him as a person for being a Patriots fan. I'm not always healthy with my relationships. I'll say it out loud.
Grace the way I treat with us, Dan Stone.
And I do know in the series they don't play a lot, but regular season the Patriots lead 7-6. So if the Rams win, then they're tied in the regular season. Gotta say that regular season because we all know the Patriots have 2 more wins in the Super Bowl.
I have I have a fun one for you, Sammy B. I was just reading the last time that Stafford went up to New England. I think the Lions were doing pretty well, and they go to play the Patriots, and the Patriots clocked him. Like, I think the final score was 34-9. Trying to find the article, but Stafford didn't throw a touchdown. Here it is. Stafford trying to erase bitter memories. This is, I guess, AV Press, Valley Press. I don't know. I'm not too familiar. So Fox, 2014 they play. They lose 34-9. Lions don't score a touchdown. Quote Stafford, "It was a tough day. It wasn't pretty." So I guess he'll be looking to erase those demons of 10 years ago when he went up to New England and got smoked. We'll see. We'll see how he does.
Guess we'll see. And I want to answer Nick's question. I didn't get to it about Stafford and if you put in like another quarterback for how you worded it. I've been saying for a couple of seasons now, I like Stafford, but I want the Rams to draft a good quarterback to learn from him and learn from McVay. I think McVay is such a good quarterbacks coach. And if I was him, I would leave the Rams for a commentary and be less work but more pay. So I don't see him staying with the Rams long. I mean, I'm almost wondering if him and Stafford leave at the same time. So I don't think Stetson Bennett is the answer. I did get a jersey card of him, but I want them to draft a good quarterback to learn from Stafford and McVay for at least one season, sit behind Stafford first season. That's what I want as a fan.
I don't disagree with you, but the backup and wait, we've got Jimmy G, man. They don't even need to draft a QB. We're going all Jimmy G. He's got Belichick blood, Shanahan blood, whoever the Raiders coach was last year before he got fired.
Johnny Sins blood.
Yeah, McDaniel. So yeah, he's I kid. I too would like him to draft a quarterback. Sammy B, you're usually hitting me with the numbers. I got another fun one for you.
Oh.
American, you might like this one. Do you know which quarterback leads all quarterbacks in average yards per rush, according to Valley Press?
Isn't it Drake May? Because he's been scrambling a lot.
3 yards per rush in 5 starts, Drake May. Yeah.
Because I saw his over/under rushing yards. I think it was like 23 and a half. Like I said, I look at a
I
lot
would
of
take
props.
the over on that. Not betting that response.
that
I won't be doing any of the bets that I say. Fans, don't listen to me. I'm just saying that sounds reasonable.
I'm trying to
Drake
pull
May is
in.
going to lead the Patriots in rushing this year, and it's not going to be particularly close.
That's wild. I wish I knew when to start and sit Ramondre Stevenson. I can't figure that one out to save my life. But I'm just gonna. My team is so bad. I'm just gonna start him week in and week out in our league. So we'll see what happens. Good grief. I like Ramondre Stevenson though. Good player. Well, when he doesn't fumble, he does have a fumbling issue.
Nah, take the good with the bad.
That's fair. Hey, Kyron Williams fumbled last week, which was annoying.
When was he drafted? He was like a real late round pick.
He was a 5th round pick, not last year was his sophomore year, so the year before. He's drafted. They had big plans for him, is kind of the word on the street, but he had ankle issues his whole rookie season. So I think that was Cam Akers' last hoorah with the Rams, because then Cam Akers starts last year. No, check that. People thought Cam Akers was going to start last year, and Kyron Williams ends up starting. And then they end up trading Cam Akers for philosophical differences or whatever, which I love that. It's like a married couple. Him and McVay had philosophical differences.
Irreconcilable differences.
Yeah, irreconcilable differences. Which Cam Akers is like, dude, I want The Rock. And Sean McVay's like, yeah, well, I like Kyron Williams more right now.
I like his nickname, Cam the Ram.
I did too. I thought he was going to be the next running back for them. I really did. I believed the hype. I did not do, as some would say, which is don't believe the hype. I believed the hype. They're up. I like Kyron Williams, since we're on the subject, but he does not have, and a lot of running backs don't, but he doesn't have that top line breakaway speed. Like the Rams offense was at its best, and this isn't rocket science, when they had Todd Gurley. Like they were fine with Matthew Stafford when they won the Super Bowl. They obviously won the Super Bowl. They did enough. But the offense, even that year, I don't think was as good as the year they go up to New England, not up to New England, but lose to New England in the Super Bowl. Like that offense was electric. And their offense slowed down in the playoffs because Todd Gurley didn't really play in the championship game in the Super Bowl. And I really think that's not a coincidence or an accident. So it would be nice if they could get a top line breakaway running back again. I don't know if that happens, but I don't know what it is. The offense is just flawed, but maybe they turn it on. I believe in them. I believe they can figure it out. Andrew Whitworth believes they can figure it out, so he knows more about football than me.
And I got the remaining schedule up here. I mean, I see a lot of winnable games, so it's
You and I look at it differently because I don't. You think they're going to beat the Jets? I don't know, brother.
You got to
have you
beat if
watched
you're a playoff team. You got to beat the Jets.
have
You
you
just
watched
got.
I
have you
don't know,
watched the
man.
Jets
We
play
lost
this
to the
year?
Bears. Like we lost to the Bears. I
You
don't
did
know.
lose to the Bears. That. It's not a good sign.
That's
You
the
also
one
gotta beat
loss
the
that I
Bears.
look back on where it's like that really shouldn't have happened. Like, come on.
Damn.
All due respect to the Bears, but they're not a good
And
team right
the next
now,
one,
and they weren't a good team then.
next against Philly, it's a Sunday night game too. That'd be exciting. So
Yeah, Philly's going to be tough. I love how
That's gonna be
Philly
a
fans
slaughter.
3 weeks ago wanted to blow the whole thing up, and now they're like, yeah, insane fandom.
awesome. Well, I think it was another good weekly video here. We're all feeling good about the Rams, but more comfortable feeling under to the total. We don't think it's gonna be high scoring. So I'll kick it over to Dan. Any closing remarks?
Slightly. So what's neat about our friend Nick, not to hold everybody up, but he is a New England fan who happens to also reside in or around the Chicago area. So before I let you go, what's the pulse on Chicago fandom? How are they like ready to just call it quits? They want to start Tyler Bagent. Like, what are we?
It has been a fascinating first 9 weeks. Going into the season, I've never seen Bears fans like with actual like capital H hope. They were so excited, and week 1 comes, and they immediately just get blasted by the Packers. One of the worst things that could possibly happen to them.
Well, and in their defense, week 1 they beat the Titans, but I think you're right. Week 2,
maybe it was week 2.
Drake, they shouldn't have lost, but Drake May threw that insane interception where he's like midair, and he's like, I can do this.
Will Levis, yeah.
Will Levis. Sorry, I've got Drake May on the break. Will Levis. Thank you, Chris. That's a huge error on my part. Will Levis, Mayo Man. And I digress, though. Yes, that's fair. So they were immediately disappointed after losing to the Packers. That checks out.
Yeah, so it went up a little bit as Caleb Williams started to throw the ball pretty well. Over the last month, though, I don't know if I've seen them like more broken. Honestly, like even them losing that Super Bowl to the Colts when they did in like 2006 or whatever, Bears fans were pretty much like, "Oh, that was found funny. We sort of ran with this one. That was really, really cool."
Rex Grossman.
Yeah, Rex Grossman was injured. He got injured. They may have won that Super Bowl if Rex Grossman was playing as quarterback. It was, the other guy, the guy that played so many games because Rex Grossman was always injured.
Okay, anyway, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, the pulse is bad in Chicago. The internet is bad. Everyone is turning on him. Them keeping Eberflus for the first year of Caleb Williams is the same thing they've done for the last 2 starting quarterbacks. They, honest to God, may ruin this generational talent in Caleb Williams, and they may still continue to go through their existence without having a 4,000-yard passer. It is astounding at how they have boggled this.
Wow.
I will say preseason, I put money on under their team total points of 399.5. So, I mean, now I'm on pace to hit that.
Yeah, I would bet you are. They only kicked a field goal last week, I think.
Yes.
Against the Patriots, who the Rams play. That's what I'm nervous about.
Oh, man. But look, if you don't beat the Patriots, like you don't deserve to go to the playoffs, right? Like that's.
I'm not going to argue that. I think that the Rams could still get to the playoffs with a loss on Sunday. Do they deserve to? Would they make noise? Yeah, no, that's a good point. Well, I was just curious. Thank you for sharing that because I was just curious. I figured Bears fans were despondent, and it sounds like that's fair. Final remark from my end, SamMeeBee. Go Rams. I hope they can win. I'm sorry, Nick. Go
ahead. One of the stats that came out this week, and I'm unsure how capital T true it is, but Caleb Williams, adjusting for pressure coming from the defense to him, is having the worst quarterback season by like a significant margin over the last like half decade. Again, I'm unsure how true it is, but I've seen the plot chart, and he's all the way in the bottom left, and everyone else is being a real NFL quarterback. Well, how much of that is coaching? How much of that is Caleb Williams holding the ball? How much of that is DJ Moore taking 85% of the plays off? Who knows? But the writing isn't good right now.
No, that's all fair. I mean, that doesn't too terribly surprise me just in terms of the eye test with him, and also not just that. Maybe I shouldn't say eye test, but I was listening to Rich Eisen this week, and they fired Shane Waldron. The Bears did. So he had like Tom Pelissero on and Albert Breer on and just whoever he could have on. And he's like, what's the deal with Caleb Williams? And they're just like, he's still adjusting to the NFL level. Like he's used to college where he can break pressure and not everybody's the best in the world. And he was the best. And now it's like, hey, man, we're all just as good as you. And if you're going to hold on to the ball that long, magic isn't going to happen. Like it's really interesting. So whether your stat's true or not, I guess based on what I heard this week on the radio world, it's not surprising. The number backs up the audio, which is interesting. But
and then you said you had closing remark, Dan. Was that, or did you?
Yeah, just go Rams. I hope they win. I'm not giving up hope on the season. Check out Turf Show Times. The game threads are fun. Funnily enough, as awful as last Monday's game against the Dolphins was, I feel like I had some of the most comments in my articles that I had all year. So that was cool. Thank you for everybody who did that and participated in that. We appreciate the engagement. You don't even have to read my article. Just comment. It's great. I'd like you to read it, but just comment. Just click it, whatever. But yeah, no, thanks for having me, SamMeeBee. Thanks for setting this up. Nick, so glad you could make it.
Always happy to be here. Some of the most fun I have.
Us too. I don't think we're going anywhere. I don't think we'll ever be in Hollywood, but it's fun. It's therapeutic. That's okay with me.
I guess I'll close with, I said I think the Rams are going to win. Ugly 17-13 was my prediction. As a fan, man, I'd love for them to have a bounce-back game, score 40 points. I want Cooper to score, Kyron. I want the whole team to have a bounce-back game, but realistically, I don't know. And then they have a little extra, not more rest, but they play Sunday night the following week. So I hope they don't look ahead because that's a tougher opponent, but I got to stay in the week, stay in the now. So I'm hoping the Rams can pull out a win. If 100%. They lose, the NFC's got so many good teams. The East will probably have a wild card. I think the North will have a wild card. There's 3 wild card spots, so I don't know if they can get.
I think both conferences are fairly matched. I don't feel one conference is significantly better than the other than one has Patrick Mahomes, which I put a lot of stock in that.
True.
It'll be exciting. I'm kind of going to put him on the spot a little bit, and I don't mean to ramble. I know you want to get going, SamMeeBee. I'm excited for Nick to see Jared Verse this week. I hope that he delivers. He's been really fun to watch. He
just says questionable, but that's what I hate now. Now they never say probable or doubtful. Everyone's questionable. Yeah. So hopefully he does play. So, well, that was it. Thanks for tuning in. Definitely check out next week. Danny Stone and I will have to find an Eagles fan for that breakdown. But good luck this week and one love.
One love.